Hi everyone, thanks for watching my channel. Um, as usual, if you're going to watch my channel, then you're going to have to deal with what I'm about. And that is my family and my family life. And it's a crazy family life. Uh, and there's going to be interruptions and formalities. This channel is not that high tech. And I really wanted to um, but I really wanted to do it and inspire myself and all mothers, especially mothers in the Western world who, and we tend to live in a very isolated and business oriented, high strung culture, and um, to inspire you to include the most precious things in your life, which are your children and your family and your inspirations, and throw out the perfectionism and go for it. You'll see in all my videos, it's very informal, and but I just went for it, and it's how I want it. It's how I like it because my children can be part of it. And so, thanks for watching, and so this video is about, excuse me, is about my journey with breast self care and how that led me to empowerment as a woman. And let's see. I live in America, but it's not just in America, it's all over the West. Um, Breasts are primarily used and displayed um, all over media, social culture, um, even political culture in a lot of ways. Breasts are used to sell pretty much anything. Just think of anything: food, um, toothpaste, cars, and then, of course, the woman's body herself. Um, yeah, pretty much name anything, and it's you. Breasts are used to sell pretty much anything. And the one sacred biological thing that they are made for, which is to feed our young, is primarily considered disgusting in the Western culture. Um, women can, women and men can objectify the woman's body and the woman's breasts as much as they want, and but as soon as a woman breastfeeds in public, as soon as breastfeeding is displayed in some way, and it's not really displayed, it's a necessity. I've breastfed now 3 children, and it's a necessity, and that act is considered disgusting on a social level. And then the one spiritual and then physically manifested as a visual thing that breasts are made for, which is to empower and beautify a woman for herself and in herself. Well, let's just say it's completely non-existent. It's almost completely non-existent. Um, it's that's not breasts. And that's not breasts in Western culture at all. And so, just sort of, I guess, to begin my story, um, I experienced a lot of severe childhood trauma, and which I learned later in my healing journey, really contributed heavily to the problems I had when I hit puberty, both spiritually, emotionally, and physically. One of the physical manifestations of that trauma really was not necessarily small breasts. Small breasts aren't a problem. I had very small breasts. But when I hit puberty. But and then pretty much up until I had kids, I had very small breasts, and um, and the gland, the glands in my breasts were always very hard, like very hard, very tender, and if they got hit, it really just like it would it would be this searing pain, like in all levels of my being. And it really wasn't until I discovered breast massage and just knew, even though it was excruciatingly painful at first, you know, that I just felt like I needed to go for that. Something was calling me to that. And it was, I came to discover so much more than just the physical aspect, although the physical aspect really led me to this incredible sense of empowerment as a woman. I am not a feminist. I do support a lot of what feminism has done and does, but I'm not a feminist. I am a woman deeply rooted in her culture and heritage, and feminism is Western a Western baby. It's the baby of the West. You know, it was birthed in the West. I'm not just Western, and women's empowerment for me does not necessarily equal feminism. Actually, a lot of times it doesn't. So that's not where I'm coming from. I'm coming from the woman that I am, and that is someone, as I said, is deeply rooted in my heritage, cultural backgrounds, and spirituality. And so so it really led me to empowerment in the sense that I'm coming from and what I'm talking about. And maybe that will become more clear as I do this video. But um, the breasts, like, really contain, I was told years and years ago by an Ayurvedic practitioner, um, that the breasts for a woman really contain and the in are deeply rooted in her feelings of self-worth. And if you think about it, it's around that heart energy, you know, and that self-worth, um, you know, really is felt in the heart, and then they're very near that solar plex energy, which is also sort of the roots of self-worth there. And having such hard, like, traumatized breasts, you know, I the struggle of the self-worth, you know, the hard breast wasn't like causing it, but it was a manifestation of things that had caused that deep lack of self-worth and self-loathing. And when I discovered breast massage, and then I began um, really doing it actively to prepare for breastfeeding, which is, you can avoid so many classic Western mom issues with breastfeeding if you breast massage. And the primary way that I do that, and I began to do that, is I would use oil. It can be olive oil, sesame oil. The best one I feel like is castor oil. It's very goopy and messy. So put it in, like, you can buy it in a bottle. One moment, please. Alright, slight interruption. That's okay. I'm just gonna expect that in my videos, and I'm just gonna try to pick up where I left off. And yeah, so I put it in a, you can buy it in a bottle that usually has like a regular size top, and then, but I would put it in like a one of those travel bottles with the snap top, or like the one that you open, like, you know, like a lever, but It has just a little hole on the inside, so that it's just easier to contain and everything. And also you're bringing it into the shower with you. And I was taught this by the Ayurvedic practitioner, and Ayurveda is an ancient practice that originated in India of health and nutrition and spiritual balance and all kinds of things. It's very involved. Basically, it's medicine. It's natural medicine, ancient natural medicine, and but she's the one who led me to this, and she um, um, told me to take the oil into the shower with me and to massage my breasts with it and have the hot water drive the oil into my breasts. And I learned, it was so excruciating at first, that I learned about extreme patience with myself, deep breathing, and gentle, but like just hard enough to try to make some progress. And I did that for 6 months consistently, and then a little bit of stretching the nipples, like not really hard, but just a little stretching of the nipples, and I did that for 6 months consistently. And then I would do it also out of the shower too. Like if I wasn't in the shower and I had some time, I would do it. And I wouldn't, like, as I said, I wouldn't be super hard on myself. At the same time, I would try to buck up a little bit of courage to just sort of, do a little bit hard. Just try to make it like a little more firmly to make a little more progress. And the outcome was incredible. Was absolutely incredible. Not just physically, but spiritually and emotionally. How much was beginning to be released. How much the doors opened for me within my being of starting to address that deep woman trauma that so many women have experienced in their life, that lead to deep issues of self-loathing and lack of self-worth. And there are so many trends that really only serve to pay the medical field, pay pharmaceutical companies, that women are augmenting that part of their body so much. And there's so much like twisted erotica is not necessarily wrong. It's sort of a twisted erotica. Breasts are so like focused in that. And just think about sort of the spiritual reality of what that is. How much women's self-worth, is invested in a primarily male market. Just look at any statistics. It's just a primarily male market, and women do contribute to that in a very heavy way. But I do this breast care to this day, 3 babies in, after having breastfed all of them. If you're breastfeeding, I highly recommend preparing before you give birth. But then if you have already, do it while you're breastfeeding. And then in between feeds, I take the castor oil and I just or olive oil, and I just smear it on my breasts. And then I take a bra, I don't care getting stained, and I just put an old bra, and I put it on there and just let it soak in while the baby's sleeping or playing. And that self-care has been such a door opener in my heart, in my self-worth, and has really helped me to address some really difficult things. You know, it's not going to be all easy, rosy all the time. Many times it won't be, but it's an endeavor that I encourage all women to take, especially in the Western world, where, you know, I've met women from other countries and that are considered less, you know, they're less developed, you know, technologically, you know, but in terms of preserving that ancient womanhood and understanding of the woman's body and where our empowerment really comes from, you know, within us. I've spoken to them, and it's not the same in that their country. You know, it's not that women aren't objectified. It's not that there isn't male problems towards women and all the male violence towards women and all those things. Um, it's just that culturally, it's still preserved the sacredness of the woman's body to bring forth life, and that the sacred biological function of the breast to feed life, you know, is still preserved in their culture. And like one woman even said, she said, I can whip out my breast at a party in my country and feed my baby and no man will look at me. And I was like, what? I was like, what? She's like, yeah, don't get me wrong. It's not that we don't have problems in my country. It's just that aspect, you know, it's understood that aspect is understood in a deep way. And so, yeah. So that's been my journey, my really profound journey, and with caring for my breasts. And 2 points that I wanted to sort of recap there. The sacred biological function of breasts, you know, really needs to be revived, nourished, healed, the feeding of life, okay? And the spiritual and then physical manifestation of what breasts are there for is the woman's own love for herself and appreciation of her own beauty and body. So, thanks for watching today, and God bless.